Okay, sorry about that. It gave me a little bit of a questionable result from the last time. So we were working on pivot tables. I'll show you what the problem was. And sorry, I didn't realize it right away. What we were doing is we were looking for the count of how people responded to this question here. So let's go back again, insert pivot table. There's our data set, and we were using this question here. Okay, click on that, and you want to drag it. I like to use rows. It's totally up to you. But you also need to make sure you have it in the values column so it will show you the values for each. Now look at this. You can see we have 772 as the total. And that's totally wrong because we know we have 150 participants, 156 participants. So this is something that you'll want to check if you're getting something that looks really crazy. You can see this little I here. So this is the value, and look, it's using sum, so it's adding these, which is not at all what we want. So if you just click on this little I, okay, it'll give you these options, and you can see it, for some reason the automatic thing on here is using a sum, and we don't want that. We want the count. Okay, we want how many people answered, you know, what was poor, fair, good, excellent. So click on count. Okay. Click OK, and now we've gotten what you want. Oops, I did the wrong one. There we go. And again, it's defaulting to sum. I'm not really sure why that default is happening. Mine did not used to do that, and yours may not either. But now you know, make sure in this values, how do you want the value to display? Make sure it's on count. Okay? So we can see that 7 people answered a 3. I'm going to make this smaller, which over here is good. How would you rate your experience? We can see 37 people rated it a 4 as very good. And most of the people, which we know from our descriptives on our mean, rated it 112 people, gave it a 5, which is excellent. Now, you could easily do the percentages by hand if you like. You know, 7 is what percent of 156, but you could also pretty easily do this by just changing what it shows you here. So just like we changed that to count, you can say show data and click on this little drop down as a percent of the column. And I'm using column because I chose column down here. I chose row for the individual responses, which gives us in the column. So I want total in the column, percent in the column. If you did yours the other way around, if you put this in the column, you would choose percent of row. So I'll choose percent of the column and just click OK. And now you can see it easily converted that 7 people who said 3 to 4.49%, 2371, and this is a check just to make sure they're all in there. So the total is 100%. Okay. Now, I don't want to get too tricky with pivot tables. So in your infographic, this is probably what you would show. You don't want to show it in numbers. You wouldn't say 7 people said they had a bad experience. You almost always use percentages. And that's because it's, you know, you don't know what the total was maybe, and it just takes up more space. You can see this one, right? They basically report everything in a percentage. And you can always put the total sample size somewhere, which they may have in here somewhere. It's probably down here. The survey of like 249 students or something. Put that in there somewhere. Here's another one, right? 1 in 3, which is the same as, right, 33%, percentage, you know, cost, that's not something you would percentage. So you get the idea. Usually percent is more meaningful. The other thing you could do if you want to is, let me blow this up a little. You might say, all right, well, that's all. Oh, by the way, and this was the continuous. Let's go back for a second. Let's look at how many people registered online versus on-site. Okay, so this is column C. We're going to build a, by the way, let's just delete this one. Okay, delete. Go back to pivot table. Okay, got the right worksheet, new worksheet, and I am going to click this one, and automatically it gave me the count this time, so we're good there. 156 people. Also drag this to the row, and it shows me 33 on site, so most people registered online. If I want, I will change this to show data as percent of the column. Okay, 21% on site, 78, or a little over 78 online. But let's say I want to know between males and females. So I would just click another question. Okay, it's giving me the count. I also want to drag this, then I could put that one in the column. That shouldn't be there. Let's remove that. I messed it up. Are you male or female? What did I do? Okay, there we go. Took a couple minutes. So you can use more than one, although I don't recommend using more than two. It gets really too complicated for what you need to do. So I put how do they register in the row, all right? And then I put are you male or female in the column. So I basically made what we call a cross-tabulation between how they registered and their gender. So you can see if you look across on-site registration, there's our 33 we had before. Okay, but 20 of them were female and 13 were male. And our online registrants were, remember we had 123, 59 of them were female and 64 were male. So that's interesting, right? Because you can see a higher percentage of males registered online, and females looks like they were more likely to register on site. And we can then go back to this little guy here, show data as percent of, you could really do either on this one, percent of column. So here you would say 75% of women, right, because that's the column is female, 74 to 75% of women registered online. 83% of males, right, because that's the column, registered online. And then here's their registration offline. So still, both genders registered more online. Okay? So this is really, these are the numbers you would use to report. It's up to you if you want to do the crosstabs. Sometimes it gives you interesting information. It depends on what you really want to look at. Okay, but that's how you would manipulate the results so that you don't have to do stuff by hand. And then you could just, again, save it down here. I would just say gender by registration or something. Save it in whatever way that you'll remember what it is later. And that is how you do the pivot tables to get the frequency. So basically what we're looking for in pivot tables is frequencies. Okay, I'll put that back. I'll put that here. Categorical variables. You want frequencies from the pivot table. Okay, so that's what you want there. Okay, if you have any questions about that, please let me know.